Welcome to the Ninja News Show with the Angry Ninja. Alright guys, it's time for the Ninja News. What? Okay guys. Whew. Well, let's just talk about a few things. And I'm just going to give everybody a heads up. If you're from Kentucky, hang on to the end of the show. Because we're going to be talking about Mitch McConnell. And yeah, we're just going to do that. Right now we're going to talk about Republican majum-ass Taylor Greene. Because she's on it again. This is what happens when people take conspiracy theories seriously. This is the crap that comes out. And I dig that not everybody's awesome on the left side either. But this stuff from the right is like, come on, man. First of all, let's talk about Alex Stein, Prime 99. You're just a douchebag, okay? I realize I get on here and I make fun of people, but you know what? I don't go harass people. I don't think that's okay. There's a difference between a protest and harassment. What happened to Kavanaugh, if we got ran out of the back of a diner because of people harassing him, is wrong. I may not agree with what he did in the Supreme Court. I may want to go to the Supreme Court and protest, but if the man's at a diner minding his own business, leave him alone. If somebody is walking up the Capitol steps to go to work, stand there, protest, hold up your signs, chant something, protest like, okay, don't sexually harass them. Which is what Alex Prime number 99 did. You're like, oh, I'm a comedian doing my stuff. But he's literally trying to build up a whole brand on his favorite big booty Latina, AOC. That's his thing. Yeah, and he was yelling at her and telling her how sexy he was. And how's that protesting? That's not protesting. That's harassment. That's sexual harassment. And as a member of Congress, she shouldn't have to post it. The cops there should have arrested him on the spot for harassment. Because at that point, it's no longer being a protest. You don't like her because she's pro-abortion? Cool. Chant pro-choice slogans or pro-life slogans at her. Stand there with your sign. Protest, by all means. Do not verbally attack and harass people. Yeah. Now, you want to get on a podcast on Twitter or something and make some jokes along with your stuff where you get your point across. I can't bash that because that's what I'm doing. I also would not go to any member of the Republican Party and harass them on the way to work. I might yell at them that I think what they're doing is wrong. I might yell at them that I think they're on the take from Russia. But I wouldn't harass them. I wouldn't make fun of their turtlenecks. I would try to be a protest. And there's a massive difference between yelling at somebody's face and making some jokes on a podcast or on Twitter. I mean, it's okay with making a few jokes on Twitter. But when your whole joke is sexual harassment, that's not okay. If you notice, I don't make a whole lot of sexual jokes about nobody because that's sexual harassment. Mitch McConnell looks like a turtle. He does. He has a little turtle. Like, if his head sucked into his neck, I would be like, oh, turtle. Gotcha. He looks like Dan Carvey from the Master's Disguise movie. Turtle, 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 turtle. Am I not turtly enough for you? But there's a difference between that and sexual harassment. There's a difference between that and running a man out of a diner trying to eat. It's not okay. Protests can go too far. And Allison, you're not protesting. You're clickbait. You want people to view your stuff. And you know, it's working. You're now hanging out with Majora dumbass Taylor Greene. Which I don't know why that's a good thing. Her dumbass can run, but you're featured her podcast saying even worse things about Nancy Pelosi. But you know what? You weren't around Nancy Pelosi's face, and it was kind of funny. I'm going to give you that joke. It was hilarious. I'm not going to lie. So I'll let that one slide. But really, dude, don't harass people in public. That's just kind of messed up. But her current thing is the WHO declares monkeypox a global health emergency. Hey, I don't know a whole lot about monkeypox. I know I don't want monkeypox, so I don't get it. And her response is, of course it is. Yeah, it's a disease. This is what the WHO does. They track diseases, and they decide when it's an emergency or not. Just because they decided it's a health emergency doesn't mean it's the end of the world either, you dumbass. Of course, I'm sure there's going to be some big conspiracy, but monkeys don't have pox, only chickens do. Mask won't help. Look, lady, like seriously, back off. And then, okay, so let's talk about subpoena law. Okay? If you use a subpoena, you have to go, because you're being compelled by law, to testify under oath about whatever they want to ask you. Courts have this. Congress has this. I'm sure maybe somebody else does. But those are the two big ones. Congress and judges and courts can subpoena you. If you get subpoenaed, you can fight it legally. You can put forth your arguments why you shouldn't be subpoenaed. When those arguments get defeated, then you have to go appear. If you don't go appear, it's against the law. Simple. Majority dumbass Taylor Greene tweets, Democrats will pay for what they're doing to President Trump, Steve Bannon, the J6 defendants, and the American people. Bannon broke the law. He was subpoenaed. He refused to show up. He got convicted. He's guilty. Done. Bam. You're in prison. Gone. And he'll probably get like probation or something. I like the fact that Bannon's defense was executive privilege, but he didn't work for the White House anymore. Hadn't worked for the White House for years. Can't use executive privilege to get out of a subpoena if you don't work with the White House. And you can't use executive privilege to get out of a subpoena, period. As shown by the White House lawyer, Pete, I can't remember his last name, was subpoenaed. So he showed up, and when they asked him a question, he's like, sorry, I can't answer that. That's covered by executive privilege. I'm not going to discuss that. And that's how you handle that. You show up. If they ask you a question you think is covered by executive privilege, say, sorry, executive privilege. Or plead the fifth. You don't have to answer, but you do have to show up. That's the part everybody's missing. Subpoena just says you have to show up and hear the questions. You can refuse to answer, but you have to show up. So yes, Bannon was guilty. And what the Democrats have done to Trump, the Democrats invited the Republicans to be part of the select committee. There is a Republican on the select committee. And was it Kevin McCarthy refused to put anybody on the select committee? So, yeah. Like, well, there's no cross-examination. It's hearsay. It's not a trial. They're not putting anybody on trial. They're not convicting anybody. You don't get to cross-examine if it's not a trial. This is them presenting evidence of people under oath. So if they're lying, then they can be in trouble. But there's a difference. And all they did was say Trump did. Things Trump did. This is what happened. This is what the Proud Boys said. This is what the Oathbreakers did. This is what Trump did. This is what the people who were around Trump saw him do. And then they're leaving it to the people to make their own decisions. It's not a trial. It's evidence. It's people giving testimony. You choose not to believe it, or you choose to believe it. They are under oath, and all of them are Republicans who are in the White House, who worked for the White House. There's been no Democratic witnesses, which that's my favorite. Fox News is like, oh, they need to bring on some Democratic members to testify and ask them what they. If one Democratic testified, y'all would tear it apart as a left wing, which you already are, even though it's literally been all Republicans. Speaking of Republicans testifying, Trump blasts Arizona House Speaker Rusty Bowers as a rhino coward after the GOP leader testified before the January 6th committee. He did what he was supposed to do. He was subpoenaed or asked to come by Congress. Pretty big deal. So he went to Congress and he answered the questions. Just because you didn't like his answers, which apparently are all true, doesn't make it wrong, Trump. Just because he didn't make you look good because you don't, because you're still calling Wisconsin, telling them to decertify the election. Election's like 2 years old at this point, homie. You need to let that one go and focus on trying to win the next one. This, it was only a fraud thing, isn't going to work forever. It's not. You lost. Take the L, make your plan, come back, try to win. Let it go. Now, the thing he said about Wisconsin that could be said is a big deal, which it kind of is they used mail-in or drop box ballots. In other words, because of Corona, less human contact, they put out all these drop boxes so people could take their registered voting paper, which was mailed to them, and they signed it, put them up, drop in the box, just like a mail-in ballot. It's not. Other states have done it. It's not a big deal. Well, since it's Corona, they put out more of a thing. In Wisconsin, Supreme Court a couple weeks ago ruled that that is an illegal thing. During the election, it was not illegal. That was 2 years ago. But they've decided that is now illegal. They cannot do that going forward. That's fine. They made that judgment. But that doesn't change what happened in the past. It doesn't. That ruling isn't retroactive. It doesn't go back and make all those ballots invalid. It just means you can't do it anymore. They changed made a ruling which changed the laws, and that's saying that that's now illegal. That doesn't mean you get to go back and change every election before that. It just means you can't do it anymore. Fine, so be it. It's not Corona anymore. Don't need it anymore. Done. Problem solved. Now, Trump has latched onto this like a fucking fat kid on cake. And now they need to decertify the election. What do you think that, even if they decide to decertify the election, which there's no legal way to do that. Once it's done, it's done. What do you think's going to happen? They're going to redo the whole election and then you're going to win this time and then everything that got passed for the last 2 years is just going to go away and not happen. And suddenly you're president. And I mean, I had to look up the electoral vote numbers because I don't know them off the top of my head. But does Wisconsin actually switch it to where you win? I don't think it does. Even if it does, it doesn't. You can't do that, for one. Second, they had to do a re-election. I think you'd still lose. And what damage are you doing to the Republican Party? Between the Supreme Court ruling against Roe versus Wade, the Supreme Court talking about making same-sex marriage illegal again, and you running for president, what should have been a walk for the Republicans for the House and the Senate this next November might cause y'all to lose. Y'all might lose seats instead of gain, which I thought y'all were going to take it in the sweep because everybody's so unhappy with inflation and gas prices. Now gas prices are dropping, which means inflation is going to drop. So right before the election, the Democrats might actually look good, and then y'all are on all this crazy stuff because what the Republican Party is done is cared about owning the libs rather than passing passing laws. I can't say that word, so we'll say passing laws, passing bills, doing what you're supposed to do. And that's the problem. And that's why we're going to talk about Mitch McConnell, the turtle fuckhead, for a minute. Okay, guys. We're going to talk about Mitch McConnell in the Senate right now. I never want to hear another Republican news person, another Republican senator, another Republican anything ever tell me, well, it's the do-nothing Democrats causing all the problems. Them Democrats don't want to do nothing. The Democrats, over the last 2 years, have put forth bill after bill after bill to try to help with formula, help with prices, stop price gouging, infrastructure. I'll get the infrastructure one passed. A second one will help more infrastructure. Just bill after bill after bill after bill. Universal health care. All these things we think we need. And the next person says socialism, I'm just going to punch in the face. I'm going to let you know a little secret. America is already partially a socialist country. We have several socialist programs. They were socialist when they were put in place. They're socialist now. We are a democratic country with social programs that are definitely socialism. One of them is social in the name. It's Social Security. It's a social program. It's money for people. It's what it is. Food stamps. It's a social program. Section 8. It's a social program. Socialism. It's all socialism. All that. Definition of socialism. So if we can have socialism programs and still be a democracy, that's how that works. Just because we have socialist programs doesn't make us socialist. I really don't want to hear about, Democrats are socialist. No, but we do approve of some socialist programs that help people. That's the point. There's a difference between having socialism programs and becoming a socialism country. There's a massive difference. And what everybody needs to do is recognize that difference. So we can have both. And once you realize Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, EBT, Section 8 housing, all that stuff we do, that's all socialism. Every last one bit of them. That's why they're called social workers who approve these programs. It's how that works. So think about that. Just throwing that there. Woo-saw. That's it. Okay. So here's my problem with the do-nothing Democrat statement and the Republican Party. We propose a bill. Makes it through the House of Representatives because Democrats have the majority. Sometimes it even goes through with some Republican support. Then it gets to the Senate. And it gets brought up, and then all 50 Republicans vote no. Every single time. Now, is it the right to vote no if they don't agree with it? Yes. Yes, it is. But they don't come up with an alternative solution. They just vote no. They don't go, no, but let's try this instead. Or no, we don't like this part, let's negotiate. No. We're not going to talk about it. We're not going to discuss it. No, 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 no. Okay, if your answer to this bill is no, if this is the problem this bill is trying to solve, what is your solution? Well, we'll tell you when a Republican is in power, and then we'll do it. Because we don't want anything that's going to help the American people while a Democrat's in office, because that makes him look good. That's their thing. They don't want to do anything that's going to make Joe Biden look good, or any other Democratic president. That's why it's so hard to get anything passed. And honest with you, the Democrats are better about this than the Republicans are, but they're not great either. They did allow stuff to go through when Trump was president they agreed with, and they did try to come up with other stuff. But again, the Republicans, like, Mitch McConnell's desk is called the Bill Graveyard, because they go there and they die. They don't even get talked about. Mitch McConnell is a Russian bought and paid for piece of shit. And I say that because if you look into his family and his funding and his businesses, and then you realize that his family has an aluminum company that was funded by Russia, by a Russian oligarch that his wife owns. Yeah. It made jobs in Kentucky, so some people were happy, but that was bought and paid for by Russia. Just saying. Moscow Mitch. They called him that for a reason. He needs to go. So here's my plea to everybody from Kentucky. I don't care who runs against Mitch McConnell. I don't care if you do it in the primaries. I don't care if you do it in the final vote. Whoever is running against Mitch McConnell, please vote for them. Mitch McConnell is a scumbag. He's been senator from Kentucky for 20, 30 years. So far, he started broke and now is a millionaire. And Kentucky is in the bottom 4 or 5 states in every single metric that you measure a state by. Unemployment, education, health, wealth, everything. Kentucky's bottom. Yet we keep re-electing this douchebag because we're so afraid of a Democrat. Maybe a Democrat would do better. Or maybe we need to stop worrying about Republican and Democrat and look for somebody who's actually going to try to help. I don't give a shit which party you follow. I don't. If you don't agree with the way I want to solve a problem, if you've got another way, cool, we'll talk about it. We'll figure something out. We'll meet in the middle, pass the bill, which is what Congress is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about one side working with the other side to come together and make an agreement, not one side versus the other side. Congress and the presidency and just about every other election has got so about we don't want to lose power. We're going to stop helping the American people. The government is supposed to serve the people no matter which side you're on. Something Trump never fucking understood. The supposed to help. Supposed to serve the people. Supposed to make American lives better. Supposed to make American lives safer. Supposed to help us get education, bring people up out of poverty, and help protect us, protect our rights. You could disagree about what our rights are, that's fine. But you get together, you work it out, you pass some shit. You don't reflexively say no to everything, which is what Mitch McConnell does. Anything that is Biden supported, he won't even look at it. He just says no. That's not how it's supposed to work. If you read it and you don't like it, propose amendments, make changes. Do what you have to make a bill that'll pass. Y'all came together on the gun bill. That's one bill in 2 years. One. But it's the do nothing Democrats' fault. No. It's all y'all's fault. But mainly, I put most of the blame on the leader of the Republican Party in the Senate, Mitch McConnell. Come together. Do what you're supposed to. Stop being Moscow Mitch. Stop being Trump's little bitch. Although being Trump's little bitch hasn't paid off for you, because now Trump's against you. Lord knows who they'll put up in your place. Good Lord. So this is my plea to the people. It's my plea to everybody. Let's stop making politics about, ooh, you're right, you're wrong, or ooh, you're from the left, you're wrong, or Trump this, or Biden sucks, or this, let's go Brandon. Oh, the dumbest fucking thing, let's go Brandon. Just cuss them. Fucking Republicans grow the balls, let's go Brandon. No, just say fuck Biden. Okay, come on. Just grow some balls. But that's not what it's supposed to be about. Politics aren't about owning the libs. Politics aren't trying about getting one over on the right. Politics is about negotiation, coming together, and trying to help the American people. That's what we're supposed to be doing. That's what they're supposed to be doing. Just because I don't want you to eat at my table doesn't mean I don't want you to eat. I want everyone to eat. I want everybody to prosper, whether I agree with your views or not. That's not what's the matter. We can all get along as fucking American adults and make the world a better place. Lead by example instead of fighting with each other. Mitch McConnell, you failed as a senator. You got what you really wanted, which was control of the Supreme Court. Congratulations. Retire. Go home. You packed all the courts from technically legal but really shady practices. So you won. Now let's get you out and get some people in who actually want to work together. We may disagree on things, but we can work together. It's like another podcast I do called Middle of the Road. Dude's a rightist, I'm a leftist, but we talk it out. We figure out some things. We don't always agree, but we work things out. That's the point. Middle of the road. That's what politics is supposed to be and what you have forgotten in your desire to stay in power. Congress was never about being in power. It was supposed to be about serving the people. The people have the power. The people who put you there are supposed to have the power. And you're supposed to make their lives better instead of not caring whether Kentuckians have power or electricity, or if you're in Texas, fucking a working power grid there, Cruz. There's a good one for you. I mean, it doesn't matter. I'll just go to Cancun. It's warm there. Fuck them. Yeah. That's what we're supposed to be working on. Instead, y'all are more worried about winning points against liberals and staying in power. Stop it. Stop. Do your job. Do what you're supposed to do. If a Republican was in office and did what he was supposed to, I'd vote for him. Shit, I'm seriously considering voting for Mike Pence if he runs. Because I don't see anybody on the Democratic side that I think is going to have the same integrity and pride that Pence does. I may not agree with his views, but he stood up for what was right, and I respect that. So I might just vote for Pence. That could happen. That's right, the Angry Ninja might vote for a Republican. Because that's what needs to be done. People need to stop looking at parties and looking at the integrity of the person and what they think they're going to do. And if they will reach out and work with the other side. Because that is what matters. Biden tried to reach out to the other side on so many things. And they wouldn't even talk to him. And when they did, they didn't want to bend on anything and negotiate. On one bill, they came to, the Democrats came down like $1 trillion. And the Republicans were like, well, we'll come up $100 million. Like, we sacrificed $1 trillion, y'all want to come up with $100 million, you can't. That's not meeting in the middle, you motherfuckers. So that's what we need to work on, guys. Stop hating. Make jokes, by all means. I'm all for making jokes. But we should come together. Congress needs to come together and work together. That's what needs to happen. Otherwise, you're just assholes. And right now, Mitch McConnell, you're the king asshole. Congratulations. All right, guys, that's the show for right now. Hope everybody has a wonderful day. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that show and all the others on the Ninja Podcast Network. We have Angry Ninja Presents Not a Kid's Game, the currently defunct D&D podcast, but hopefully more episodes coming soon. The Ask the Angry Ninja Show podcast, Chris Allen's audio stories where I read you some stories I wrote. And if you have a story you want to hear that you wrote, send it to me and I will read it. Middle of the Road with Ninja and Moonshine. Podcast about a guy from the left and a guy from the right coming together and meeting in the middle. The Ninja News and Politics Show, Outrageous Stories with the Angry Ninja, and Sports Talk with Ninja and JMO. And if you want to support the funny, support any of the shows, patreon.com/worstjokes. Come support the funny. If you want to reach out to us, at cman2342 on Twitter, or just get on Facebook, search for the Ask the Angry Ninja Show. You'll find our page. Ask us a question. Or if any of that's too much for you, you can just send us an email at asktheangryninja@gmail.com and we will answer your question. Hope everybody enjoyed the show. You guys have a wonderful day.